Are you thinking of making that move here to the Dallas, Texas area? Well, in today's video, we are going to discuss the ultimate guide to making that move here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. All right, going back over the last 3 years of the crazy growth that we have been having here in the Dallas Metroplex, and since I started making these videos, I wanted to dive into where we're at now and how things may have changed. Also, what it looks like for people making that move here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I have been going back over all the questions that my clients are always asking me, and since we're continuing to see so much growth happening in the entire Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, not only are we having companies relocate here, continuing to move their operations here, but we are seeing more people being able to work from home and wanting to move to the Dallas area for the way of life. So with companies moving operations here or opening up new offices here, that is going to also mean that individuals and families are having to make that move here as well. All right, so what is the number one question that we are always asked about? And that is going to be, where should I live? Now, of course, that is certainly going to be a loaded question since the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is huge. We talk about it all the time, how here in Dallas-Fort Worth, not only do we have one major city, but we actually have two. Because not only is the city of Dallas the 9th largest city in the US with around 1.2 million people, when you combine it with the city of Fort Worth, which has almost 1 million people, it bumps our metro area up to the 4th largest in the nation. Now, that is going to give us approximately 8.1 million residents in an area of over 9,000 square miles. And since Dallas is pretty flat, we aren't bordered by any of the oceans or any of the mountains, the Dallas Metro can continue to expand in every direction. So with growth, it's continuing to expand here in the Dallas area. So more importantly, what is it that you're looking for when you're making a move? Do you work from home, so location doesn't really matter? Or do you have to commute to work and you need access to maybe an airport because you do a lot of travel for work or for play? Now, are you looking for somewhere with amenities? Do you want a large master plan community with events and swimming pools and tennis courts? Or do you want something that maybe doesn't have an HOA and you don't have to worry about somebody telling you what to do? Now, let's talk first about where you can get some affordable options. I know these numbers aren't going to be considered affordable for everybody, but I did kind of want to max it out at around $400,000. Obviously, you can get some cheaper than that, but between the $300,000 and $400,000 range. And let's also dive into first about new construction, because of course, a lot of people want new construction. And if it doesn't totally matter where you live, then affordability and new construction, well, let's kind of talk about it. So first up, if you're maybe wanting to be more on the north side of things, you know that there's a lot going on. Maybe you like what the north side of the Metroplex has to offer and you want access to maybe the state of Oklahoma because you love Oklahoma. So you can look at some areas kind of like Aubrey and Denton. Aubrey is going to be up north of the Prosper area and kind of have that access over to the Denton area as well. But to get to downtown Dallas, for example, that's going to be about 40 miles. So a little bit higher of a commute, and depending on which part of the area that you're living in, it could, take a while, especially during rush hour traffic. Also more on the northeast side, because obviously the east versus the west can make a huge difference. You have up in the northeast side somewhere like Anna, for example, but that's 45 minutes away from downtown Dallas. But also that is going to give you a little bit easier access to McKinney and Allen in the Plano area and even up into the city of Sherman. So another option being over on the northeast side. You also have Princeton, Lavon, and if you're going to head out further northeast, you're going to find more affordable options out in the city of Royce City. That is going to be about 30 miles from downtown Dallas, but that highway across the bridge through the city of Rockwall is going to be about 30 miles. Now, if you're a little bit further south, you want maybe a little bit something closer to downtown Dallas, we have the area of Forney. And that's about 20 miles straight east of downtown Dallas. But not everybody wants to be on the east side. Not everybody wants that access to Dallas. They want a little bit easier access to the Fort Worth side of things. Now, out west of Fort Worth, we're going to have the city of Weatherford. And obviously, to get over to Dallas is going to be quite the haul because you're going to have that traffic to get into Fort Worth and then the traffic from Fort Worth to Dallas. So it could be quite a hike. But a lot of people love the Weatherford area because it's going to give you more of that small town country living out on that side of things, but some more affordable new construction options. You're also going to have a few areas in the far north part of Fort Worth, as well as further south in the city limits of Fort Worth as well. So just a few options if you are thinking of new construction under the $400,000 range. But of course, reach out to us. We have the ins and outs. So many new construction communities out here, a lot of things that are continuing to come, but please reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We're getting those questions all the time about where is going to be the right fit. And a lot of times there's some areas that you may not have thought of, some different types of neighborhoods based on new construction or existing homes. But let's get into established homes because not everybody does want new construction and not everybody wants to live so far outside of the city limits. Now, to get under $400,000 in a more established neighborhood with more convenient access to a lot of areas around the Metroplex, there are certainly a lot of options in the Plano, McKinney, and Allen area. So just depending on if you want to be further down closer to Dallas and you're okay with a very established neighborhood, possibly no HOA fees, but most likely you will be looking at needing to do some sort of updates and renovations if you're looking in those lower $300,000 to $400,000 price points. And if you want something a little bit further on the northwest side of things, we have areas like the Colony and Little Elm and even the Louisville area. So some of these areas are going to be easier for commuting purposes, but certainly you're going to have these older homes, not a lot of new construction, and most likely you're really not even going to actually have to pay those HOA fees. So that's just kind of giving you a rough idea of where you can go, but certainly there's areas all throughout a lot of these cities if you are looking for affordable housing. But the further you are going to get into the main city limits to having access to the shopping, the dining, the freeways, and all of that kind of stuff, you're going to be having those older homes. And, with older homes is certainly going to come a lot of other things that you might need to consider. So that's where we're going to get into discussing, should I buy resale or new construction? Because we are getting this all the time. I have probably a 50-50 split of people who absolutely want new construction and they want to go check out all of these different neighborhoods and just trying to work within their budget. But then other people who do not want the new construction, they don't want those higher fees, like HOA fees, and they don't want to be so far outside of the city limits because the closer that you are in, if you are going to find new construction, it's going to be very pricey. So certainly something to think about. But of course, it's always going to be a personal decision if you're wanting new construction versus an established neighborhood. So if you do want new construction, most of the popular, bigger master plan communities are certainly going to be a ways outside of town. Some of the more popular areas are areas like Prosper and Salina, and having these master plan communities are gigantic. They are going to have tons and tons of amenities available to the people and residents that live in their communities. And these newer homes, they're going to come with warranties. You're going to have warranties on your systems and your roofs, and even the cracks in the walls sometimes when you buy new construction. So it could be a very big bonus for a lot of people because they think that they can move in and they're not going to have to worry about a really hot summer and that the AC is going to break. Well, granted, hopefully it's not going to break and it has a decent warranty because it is newer as long as you maintain the systems in your house. So those types of things really do give you an easier peace of mind, knowing that you can move right into a community, into a home, and just really not have those things that you're going to need to worry about for a number of years. But obviously, when you get into an established neighborhood, you're going to have older systems, or they could be older. Sometimes somebody might have put in a brand new air conditioning unit, but maybe you have some major plumbing issues, maybe because of the big, huge trees that are out in your yard finally starts to wreak havoc with the plumbing issues in your foundation. I mean, I've seen so many different things happening in a lot of these homes based on based on if you're living in an older home and how well the property was taken care of. Also, maybe the roof is shot. But that's something that probably neither here nor there, because the roofing business here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is quite lucrative. And we had friends that moved into their home in December. We had a crazy, horrible hailstorm that just happened to hit their neighborhood perfectly, and they ended up needing a new roof less than 8 months after moving in. So I will tell you, they were not super happy about it, but with as bad as it had ripped off a corner of the roof, they started to have a small leak inside the house, and they absolutely needed to get that roof replaced. So something to think about. You never know which direction and which part of the metro is going to be hit by one of our lovely storms here in the Dallas area, and you might end up having to get your roof replaced even within a couple of years. You just never know. I've absolutely seen it. I've seen people who haven't had to replace the roof for 15 years. And like I said, people who've had to replace their roof in less than a year. So not super fun. It's just a matter of where Mother Nature tends to hit you just right. So definitely something to think about. So with homeownership is also going to come the insurance costs of living here in the Dallas area. And the insurance costs here on our single family homes are starting to rise. And it is not making a lot of people happy. But we're going to blame all of that on Mother Nature. So here in Texas, like I said, even some other areas around the country that might have some hurricanes or severe ice storms. So here in Texas, when we had that horrible ice storm of 2021, and so many people lost power, and the number of people that I knew that had plumbing issues because their pipes burst, it wreaked havoc on our insurance company. And the last year or so, we've seen some horrible hailstorms come through, and the number of people that are needing to get their roof replaced, including some people who've needed to get replaced multiple times. So with the amount of insurance claims that have been filed, a lot of people's homeowners insurance, for example, has started to go quite a bit higher than they were used to. So certainly something to think about. Some of these areas have been hit harder than others, but across the board, our insurance rates have gone up, and just people have been a little bit more paranoid because of what we are seeing thanks to Mother Nature here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So more insurance claims are going to mean that these insurance companies are raising our rates, and everybody I've talked to has been seeing that happen. So let's dive into a little bit of our property taxes. Now, Texas ranks as having the 4th highest property taxes in the entire country. And people ask all the time, like, what are the property taxes based on a certain area? And we've talked about this multiple times in our videos, how it is going to be based on the city, the county, and the school district in which you live in. Average, we'll just throw a basic average number out there at around at least 2%. But they could range anywhere from about 1.8% to 2.2%. And another thing is our newer communities are going to have higher tax rates than the more established neighborhoods. That, along with the high HOA fees, you live in one of these really big master plan communities with tons of amenities, you could see HOA fees of around $200 per month. So when you are thinking of adding on the additional taxes for newer construction, as well as the $200 a month for the HOA fees, something you need to be considering in that monthly payment to make sure that you can afford it. Because a lot of people do want new construction and they want a big master plan community, but they need to take into account those additional fees to make sure that it is working within your budget. Because you can talk to a lender and the lender can approve you for $500,000, but you're going to be tacking on a few extra $100 per month, and for example, and you're going to want to make sure that you can afford that, and to find out if new construction is right for you, or maybe you need to adjust your budget a little bit in order to afford something within the community that you're really looking to move into. So when we are talking about taxes here in Texas, sometimes we have what is called a MUD tax, and that is a municipal utility district tax. And to provide infrastructure such as water, sewer, and some of those stormwater drainage. And it's usually created for these brand new communities that sit just outside the main city public services, which is going to help allow these neighborhoods to be built. And it could be up to an additional $1.40 of the total property taxes. It is always going to be higher in a brand new development, but over time, as these particular bonds are paid off, the mud decreases, and after 20 or 30 years, the tax can be completely eliminated. So it's not that you need to pay these mud taxes forever, but certainly something to think about, that if you're buying new construction, you could have these taxes assessed for 20 to 30 years. So something to be aware of, additional taxes here in Texas on top of all of the other fun taxes that we're having to pay. And in addition to a mud tax, sometimes you need to be aware of a PID tax. And these are going to be the property improvement districts. These are created by the city or the county that allows a developer of a subdivision to charge an assessment to build the infrastructure. Now, it can be used just the same way as a mud tax, but it can also be used for things like their sidewalks, their roadways, the landscaping, and the parks within a particular community. And you'll be done paying on these when the tax on each particular home is paid in full. So you can spread out these taxes for 20 to 40 years, or you can pay them completely upfront. And the developers are going to use a PID tax a lot of time instead of an HOA, since the taxes are going to be tax deductible. So these taxes are going to be issued based on a property's appraised value. So another fun tax to be aware of when buying in a new construction in an up and coming neighborhood here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You are seeing different mud taxes and PID taxes all throughout the Metroplex. So if you have any questions about that, and maybe if you are interested in a particular community, to know if it does in fact have that mud or the PID tax. But really quick, let's talk a little bit about our homestead exemption. Obviously, they raised that homestead exemption. So if you are moving here to buy your primary residence, that homestead exemption is now up to around $100,000. So it does give you a little bit more of a tax break when you're buying your primary residence. Trying to weed out a lot of these people coming in and buying these investment properties, because not everybody wants to do that because of our high property taxes. So at least you're getting a little bit of a break when you file for that homestead exemption. Okay, so hopefully you've realized all about these taxes, new construction, existing neighborhoods. But again, reach out to us. My name is Kristen Carpentier. I am a licensed real estate agent here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I have been helping people relocate here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I absolutely love it. So any questions at all, reach out to that number down below. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, ask your questions. Let's come up with a game plan and kind of figure out which area is right for you. I always work with some amazing local lenders who can give you these numbers as well. So I'm happy to refer those individuals to you if you have any questions at all as well. All right, another question that I'm getting, because some people are moving here from areas where it's very walkable. And when they move here to Texas, they're, do I need a car? Well, I'm always going to probably suggest you need a car, but maybe they don't always want to use their car. Maybe they do want to just be able to commute and drive to work, but they want something a little bit more walkable. So where are some great walkable areas here in Dallas? Do we even have those? Well, we actually kind of do. So some of my favorite areas, I'm really only going to highlight some of the top areas that I absolutely love, just because I know, because I've been there, I have friends that have lived there, or people have requested to move to some of these areas. So we do have more than what I'm going to talk about today, but the few that I do want to highlight down in the Dallas proper area, one of my favorite areas is Lower Greenville. Now, when we're thinking of downtown Dallas and established neighborhoods, you're really going to find these beautiful tree-lined streets. And in Lower Greenville, a lot of these areas and streets are going to be lined with some really cute little cafes and bars and different boutiques and stuff down there. So some of these houses are going to be these gorgeous, beautiful, older craftsman style bungalows, Tudor style homes. And it's just really kind of like living in just a different area. I go look at new construction homes all the time, and a lot of these established neighborhoods in downtown Dallas are absolutely phenomenal. And the Lower Greenville area in Dallas is one of my favorites. There's also the community of Lakewood, which is another area with some gorgeous, beautiful tree-lined streets. And it has the Lakewood Theater, and it has the historic Lakewood Country Club, and some gorgeous older homes with some beautiful architecture. A lot of these homes really have been remodeled. Some of them have been torn down or completely gutted, and they're probably going to be a little bit larger. And of course, the price points in a lot of these areas in downtown Dallas are going to be quite high as well. If you're wanting me to run numbers and kind of give you a ballpark of what you can get per price per square footage and size of the home, definitely reach out. but I love Lakewood. I have a friend that has lived there for years. All of her kids went to school down there, and she would never leave the Lakewood area. Her husband works in construction, and they've done some phenomenal jobs on homes in the Lakewood area. So another one of my favorites. Another very popular area is going to be what is called the M Streets. When you go down there, all the streets start with an M. And it is known for more of those Tudor style homes. It's a really kind of close-knit community down there, and it just makes you feel like you're living in a quiet little suburban neighborhood, but right in the heart of the city. Another area where you can walk to some of those coffee shops and restaurants and even your dentist. So a lot of people love living in the M Streets for what you can get and for that community feel. Now let's kind of head out of Dallas a little bit, because obviously there's some very popular areas to go and hang out and work in downtown Dallas, but there's also some other areas that you can live and walk and, eat, work, and do a lot of other things here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And one of those areas is Plano, specifically the Legacy West area of Plano. Now, when you go down to Legacy West, the amount of shopping and dining, you have apartments, you have some luxury high-rise condos, very pricey, very fantastic if you want a beautiful view of the city. But they also have some single family homes in this particular area. Very walkable, so much to do down there. Friday night down in the Legacy West area, there's concerts, music, and different things that you can go and enjoy down in that particular area. So there's a lot of businesses down in that area as well. Some of them maybe you do have to drive a little bit to, but maybe you actually do work right in that area. So you have access to a lot of the higher end shops, as well as just, your everyday shopping down in the Legacy West area, but all kinds of different food options for restaurants and meeting up with friends for drinks and things to do in the Legacy West area of Plano. Now, another one a little bit further outside the city is going to be Denton. Now, downtown Denton is definitely going to be a little bit more of a college town, but Denton has been around for a long time. There's a lot of events that go on in downtown Denton, but you have UNT, which is University of North Texas, as well as TWU, Texas Women's University, in downtown Denton. So if you want to go eat and hang out in downtown Denton, there's certainly houses and all kinds of things in that particular area, but very walkable for especially some college students that live in the downtown Denton area. But it's certainly its own kind of vibe down in Denton, but it can be walkable if that is something that you're looking for. Another area is going to be the city of Addison. Now, this particular area is going to be more around Addison Circle, and it is mostly townhomes and apartments, but it does have a gorgeous park down there, lots of restaurants and places to hang out. And it's really convenient to the 635 freeway, the Dallas North Tollway, as well as very close to the Galleria Mall. So lots of offices, lots of shopping, and really just a lot of walkable things, because maybe you have a hard day, you commuted for work and you don't want to, have to drive to meet friends for dinner. You can just walk down and pick up some dinner and eat right there in your own backyard. So another great area, but they don't have tons of single family homes. It really is known for more of those townhomes and apartment style living in that particular Addison area. We also have an area, one of the areas in Richardson. And the main area that's a little bit more walkable is going to be City Line. Over in Richardson, you do have UT Dallas, and a lot of really big corporations are headquartered in the Richardson area as well. We have companies like AT&T, Verizon, Cisco, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Just for some example, it used to really be known as the telecom corridor. For anybody who's lived here for any length of time, they would really probably still consider Richardson as more of that telecom corridor. It doesn't mean that there aren't some of these businesses all throughout the DFW area in some different areas, but there are a lot of really big businesses right there in that particular area of Richardson. You can also catch the DART there in Richardson. Say you do like living in the area, but you need to get downtown. That's another option for living in the Richardson area. Next up on the walkable cities is going to be the city of Las Colinas. Now, Las Colinas is actually a city in a city. It's within the city of Irving, Texas. And it has these beautiful canal waterways. It has a lot of apartments, townhomes, offices, restaurants. The Toyota Music Factory is down there. But back when they were building Las Colinas, it was really meant to be one of those cities that you never had to leave. You were supposed to move into Las Colinas and you were supposed to work there, live there, play there, and hang out there and do everything you needed right within the city of Las Colinas. So it didn't completely pan out the way that they planned, but it's still a great area to go and hang out and quite a bit to do in the city of Las Colinas. All right, we're almost done with this list because there are a number of areas. Like I said, Dallas is really big, lots of options and areas to be. And another one is over in Allen, and it's the area of Waters Creek. Now, Waters Creek does have a convention center, office buildings, shopping, dining, and a lot to do over there right off of the 75 freeway in the city of Allen. So not super walkable compared to some of the other ones, but based on its location and what it offers, it could be another really good option. And last on the list that I did want to talk a little bit about is the city of Coppell. And it's the community of Cypress Waters. Now, there's kind of the same. You're going to have a lot of apartments, office buildings, and a little bit of dining, but it's newer and it is still continuing to grow out over in that area. You have concerts in the park, but maybe people who have just gotten out of college and got their first job, maybe they just want something with great access and a great location. So the city of Coppell is just really known for its location, and that community of Cypress Waters is really starting to grow, and there is a lot happening over in that particular area. So obviously with these walkable cities, I'm always going to suggest that you're really probably going to want a car when you move here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but we do have the DART system. It can take you from Fort Worth to Dallas. It can take you down to the DFW airport based on where it is that you are living or you need to get to. So sometimes maybe you do need to drive to the DART station, but it is an option. It's just not as extensive as some of these other areas where a lot of people are relocating from, but we do have it. All right. That is our walkable neighborhoods here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Those are the top ones that I'm going to highlight. Obviously, there's kind of a few others, but these are the ones that, people talk about the most, that there really are a lot more options here in our particular area. So, like I said, a lot of people are relocating here for work, and a lot of companies are still starting to bring their headquarters here or open up these big offices here, because here in Texas, we don't have state income tax, which is bringing a lot of people here. So what type of jobs and companies are located here in the Dallas area? Now, I have done another video on this where I've highlighted some of the different companies the top employers here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And when you read these numbers, there's a lot. But Texas does lead the country as having the most Fortune 500 companies. This is in the entire state of Texas. Currently, there are 55 Fortune 500 companies in the state of Texas, and Dallas actually has 24 of them. So they almost have half located right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have jobs everywhere from tech and energy to healthcare and manufacturing, even a lot of financial and transportation companies here in the Dallas metro area. We have companies like Texas Instruments, AT&T, American Airlines, and Southwest Airlines are headquartered here, as well as Toyota, McKesson, Charles Schwab, Capital One, Baylor Health, and ExxonMobil. So those literally are just the tip of the icebergs of the different companies that are located here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Certainly, if you are looking to expand and maybe relocate here to the Dallas area, go check online for a huge laundry list of the companies that have made the Dallas-Fort Worth area their home, and maybe one of them would work out for you. All right, now another reason, definitely another one of the top things and questions that people ask about relocating here are, where are the top schools? Well, obviously I can't steer you in any way. That is against all of my code of ethics on telling you where it is you should live and which school district is better and who offers better options for your kiddos. But I always recommend checking out places like niche.com and greatschools.org. But I am going to highlight 10 of them today, and this list is coming straight from niche.com. But because I get these questions all the time, I am going to go through them just to kind of give you a little bit of a highlight of what these particular areas might offer and where they are located. And number one on the list is in niche.com is going to be Carroll ISD. Now, Carroll ISD is located in Southlake. Go Dragons. And if you know anything about Southlake and how competitive it is and what it offers, it is a fantastic area. The price point living over in Southlake is a little bit higher, but a lot of people want to live in the area based on the school district in particular. Number 2 on the list is Grapevine Colleyville. Great location, great homes, great neighborhoods. It's been around for a while. A lot of famous people have gone to Grapevine Colleyville High School. Just do your little research on that if you care. Number 3 on the list on niche.com is the Allen Independent School District. And this Allen High School is the largest high school in the state of Texas. I believe it's number 4 in the entire country with over 6,000 students. So with a huge high school comes lots of opportunities. So much to offer over in the city of Allen, a phenomenal school district over there. Number 4 on the list is going to be Capel ISD, and another great school and definitely a fantastic location. A lot of people love Capel because of its location and its access to being literally right in the center of things and being able to get all around the Metroplex. Number 5 is the Lovejoy School District, and this is actually on the more northeast side. It's going to be east of the city of Allen, and the cities that really feed into Lovejoy are some of the areas like Fairview and Lucas, as well as parts of McKinney and Allen. But a lot of those areas out there, those homes are going to be built on a lot of acreage and a lot more spread out. So it's another fantastic school district over on the east side of the Metroplex. Number 6 on the list, surprising for a lot of people, is Highland Park. The Highland Park School District is made up of the Park Cities, which is Highland Park and University Park, and it is the most expensive area in Dallas within a public school system. Obviously, we have some areas like Preston Hollow, which a lot of those homes can even be more expensive than the Highland Park area. But if you've ever been down there, it's beautiful, some gorgeous neighborhoods, and a lot of people want to live in the Highland Park area because of its proximity to downtown Dallas. And you just need to be able to have a much higher price point when purchasing a home. Number 7 on the list is going to be the Argyle ISD. That's more on the northwest part of the Metroplex, over closer off the 35 West Freeway, west of the cities of Flower Mound, for example, northwest of the city of Southlake. But Argyle ISD is number 7 on the list. Number 8 on the list, which is kind of surprising for a lot of people, is the Frisco Independent School District. Because a lot of people know that Frisco has some phenomenal schools, and Frisco is one of the top, most busy, most popular growing areas here in our Metroplex. So Frisco ISD is also known for having smaller schools than a lot of these other areas. When Frisco continues to build, they continue to also build different schools in Frisco to keep the numbers smaller. So that really is something that a lot of people are looking for. They don't always want their kids in these bigger school districts. So Frisco ISD has smaller high schools and more of them within the Frisco city limits. Now, number 9 on the list is going to be the Wiley Independent School District. Now, this is more on the northeast side of our Metroplex, and some of these homes over in this area are going to be a little bit more affordable, and it is kind of located on the west side of Levon Lake and Lake Ray Hubbard. The city of Wiley is further east, like, for example, the city of Plano, for example, but another great independent school district. And number 10 on the list is going to be Prosper Independent School District. Now, Prosper is still continuing to grow. It has lots of new schools that are continuing to be built, mainly because of the amount of new construction that is happening over in Prosper. I would assume, which is what a lot of people are telling me, that Prosper ISD will continue to move up the ranks in the niche.com stats over here. But for now, according to niche.com, Prosper is ranked number 10. And maybe that is just because it's newer and it hasn't had the time to be as established as some of these other areas. So there you go, just the top 10. If you have any other questions at all, go read niche.com, kind of check out where these areas are. But as always, reach out, ask the questions, and let me know what I can do to help answer and help you find the perfect spot that you are looking for. Next on the list for what people are asking about is what else is there to do in the Dallas area? Because not everybody's into sports, because obviously we're going to tell you right now, sports is huge here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because go Cowboys, am I right? Now, not everybody is a football fan, and 100% not everybody is a Dallas Cowboys fan. I know, yet they still move here. But it is what it is. But no matter where you're going to go here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's going to be Cowboys everything all around. everything from school sports to professional sports. It is a very big deal here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have every major league sports team represented. We have professional basketball, professional baseball, hockey, and football here in the Dallas area. But we also have the minor league teams as well. So much to do in regards to sports, but that is not all. Lake life is obviously very popular here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, mainly because of the number of lakes that we actually have all throughout the Metroplex. Just pull up a map and you will see how many lakes that we have. Some of the bigger ones are Louisville Lake, Grapevine Lake, Levon Lake, and Lake Ray Hubbard that I talked about that are going to be further over on the east side of the Metroplex. Lake Ray Roberts is going to be further north, even closer up towards the Oklahoma area. We also have Lake Arlington, Joe Pool Lake. There's even White Rock Lake. Granted, you are not going to be swimming in White Rock Lake. It's not very big. It's closer to downtown Dallas. But I tell you what, you are going to see people outside walking, biking, running all around White Rock Lake. And it is an absolutely beautiful area in downtown Dallas. Also, we are going to have Eagle Mountain Lake, which is going to be further over on the west side, kind of the North Fort Worth area of the Metroplex. So tons of lakes, and lake life really is super popular if you're going to, for example, we drive across the bridge on Grapevine Lake all the time, and you always see people out skiing and fishing and sailing all the time. So much to do in regards to the lake life based on what it is that you love doing, and lots of options. But maybe you don't even need the lake life. Maybe you love amusement parks. Maybe you love the thrill of a roller coaster, like me, not my kids. But we have Six Flags over Texas here in Arlington. We also have multiple water parks. We do have Hurricane Harbor, which is in conjunction with Six Flags right there in the city of Arlington. But we also have multiple Hawaiian Falls locations. And if those are too big for you, definitely go check out your local community center. We have community centers all throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area in these various cities. You can join them, and they typically have some sort of a lazy river and a water slide. So more on the smaller side of things if you want something to be able to go and do every single day during the summertime with your kiddos. Lots to do out here in the Dallas area, even Texas Motor Speedway. So we have Texas Motor Speedway out over on the west side of the Metroplex in the North Fort Worth area, right off the 35 freeway. And if you are into racing, another great thing that you can go check out. But if you are moving here to Texas and Dallas in particular, obviously you got to get your cowboy boots on and go check out one of the rodeos. We do have rodeos down in Fort Worth, but you can also find rodeos up in Denton and over in the city of Mesquite. So lots of options. If that is your thing, you are moving to Texas to be one with the rodeos and go get your cowboy boots and your cowboy hats. There's certainly going to be a lot to do in regards to that here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we absolutely love it. And last but not least, let's dive into a little bit about the weather. We talked about this a little bit, and we're always getting asked, are there really tornadoes here in Texas? Well, I mean, obviously, at some point you might see them, and they're going to threaten them, and maybe they're not going to touch down. I personally have not seen one touch down, but when we get these hailstorms and these windstorms, and sometimes the rain is going to dump 2 inches in a matter of 30 minutes, you're going to get that here in Texas as well. But our weather can be crazy. Our spring storms can come and just tear everything apart and flood your yard and create a mess, but it is what it is. Our weather can be definitely crazy, and in the summertime, the humidity is going to kick in, and you're going to want to spend your days by the pool. So if you have any questions at all, hopefully this helped answer some of your questions about what it's like living here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Is Dallas the right place for you? Is it going to have all the things that your hearts desire? Well, don't forget to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Let us know how we can help you find that perfect spot here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified every single week when we are dropping new content. And until next time, take care.